All right, we are live. Welcome everybody to Hump Day Hangouts. This is episode coughing 349. Just wanted to clear my throat there before we hop into everything. We got everyone here. We wanted to say hello to everybody and make a couple announcements. I know Bradley's doing some tech stuff in the background to make sure this is running smoothly. So let's start. Let's see, Chris, you're first on the list here. So how you doing today?
Doing good. Made a wonderful day out in nature today. The small hike in the woods. So yeah, things are good. Can't complain. And it's not too hot. And today we were still free, like no lockdown still. But
well, this is good. So you're not having sandstorms and you're not being flooded anymore. So things are kind of evening out.
Well, there are still areas where like the water is high, but like my area is pretty good, so like can't complain.
Fair enough, man.
Other areas were hit way harder.
And Marco, how about you? Any sandstorms or floods down there?
I got a sunstorm. Does that count? Plenty of sunshine coming through my window. It's the last 8 days. It's only rained 2 days, which is not good. It's not a good thing in Costa Rica when that happens because green stuff starts to turn brown again. We need that water, man. We need lots of it. We don't want to turn it to California. But man, life is good. Things are good. You just said, while I'm clearing my throat, or let me clear my throat. I was just watching that video because what's his name? Bismarck died.
Yeah.
Oh no, really? Oh baby, you.
Oh baby, you. Yeah, man. Yeah, 56, 57.
That sucks.
Right around. So we're kind of peers, you know, in that age group. And I grew up with hip hop in New York. I used to go to the Bronx on weekends with my mom and dad. So from the time we got to New York in '73 for about 10 years, man, it was nothing but that on weekends. And like I watched the birth of hip hop either on the street, like down playing with hydrants and all of that, and watching them hook up the equipment and doing it live. And so I came up through all that. And I remember when Biz came out with Just a Friend, but I remember him from doing shows way before that. Anyway, I was just going through his old stuff and just listening to the music. Rhymes aren't all that great, but he was just a great showman. And he seemed like a really decent guy. I never met him, wish I had. But now he's no longer here to be enjoyed other than in his music. So that's what I was doing. It was fun. It was kind of nostalgic, but also fun.
Fair enough, man. And last but not least, Bradley, how you doing today?
Busy, but glad to be here. Excited. Next week I go on vacation for the first time this year. I have not been taking weekends off very much this year like I used to. So I'm looking forward to a few days off. So I won't be here for Hump Day Hangout next week, guys, but these guys will handle it. So
cool. Well, we got a couple quick announcements before we jump into it. I just want to say too, if you're here, you're live, say hello. Let us know you're in the comments section. If you're not live, that's also okay. If you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment. You know, we do check out the comments. We respond. If you got a question or something we can help you with, feel free to drop a line. We'll get back to you and at least point you in the right direction. A couple other quick things. Wanted to mention POFU Live. If you're not getting Semantic Mastery emails, you may not have heard about this, but you need to go check it out at pofulive.com. We're gathering ourselves, of course, as well as some great guest speakers. And on the last weekend of September, we got the 2 days, Saturday, Sunday, with a VIP day on Friday. We've had each year just better and better feedback. We've really been fine tuning it, and it's a lot of fun on top of having some great information, some actionable content that we share. Tickets are as cheap as they're going to get right now. That's all I can tell you. Go check it out, pofulive.com, grab your ticket. It is virtual this year, so no matter where you're at, you can attend. Now, if you're ready to grow your digital marketing business, if you want an experienced community, you want access to not only yours truly, you want to talk to people like yourselves who are trying to grow your agency, things like that, then the Mastermind is the place for you. And you can find out more about that at mastermind.semanticmastery.com. All right. With that said, guys, is there anything else we need to cover right now before we get into it?
I have a little rant.
All right.
Or no, just man, a piece of advice for people, especially if you're a noob, if you're new, you're just starting out. Be careful with the people you follow. Be careful when you get expert opinion as if that's the end all to it all, as if there's nothing else. Be careful with people who define things that way. Because I was reading through something in Facebook, and some guy came on with a definitive opinion. And I'll give you the example. I'm not going to say who, I'm not going to say what group. People can figure it out. Google Search Console, regarding Google Search Console, in that you should not pay attention to click-through rate or rankings in the general tab. And immediately my head said, holy crap, what are you saying? What are you saying? Anybody who does, you're a math guy, Adam. Anybody who does math, anybody who does statistics, anybody who does any type of comparison analysis, you need a baseline. What the hell are you going to compare if you don't have a baseline? I'm like, holy crap. So he's telling people go immediately into the sections on individual pages. And I'm like, no, wait a minute. You're going in there without a baseline, without knowing what it is that's working, what it is that isn't. What are you comparing against? Do you know even the what do you call it? The percentage at which the industry is for CTR. Do you know the industry average? Do you know whether your average is above or below the industry average? Do you have any idea what if you're in a niche that performs below the industry average, but that's actually that niche's average, and you're performing above the niche's average but below industry average, which is perfectly okay? There's so many things in there that the guy is being definitive about, and I'm like, holy crap. And people are saying, yeah, oh yeah, you know, you're right. No. Guys, it's basic math. If I don't have a baseline to compare against, what the hell am I comparing? What am I doing? What kind of math? Must be the new math. That's the first thing I thought. Must be this new math thing I keep hearing about, where maybe 1 + 1 does not equal 2 anymore, or you have to figure out how it equals 2, but not using 1 + 1, because 1 + 1 doesn't work anymore. That's the old way. So we can't do it the old way. Maybe that's the new way. And please let me know the new way so that I can understand what the hell it is that you're talking about, because I need a baseline. I need some kind of model that tells me what's going on. Then when you have your baseline and you know your averages, then you can go on a page-by-page model, on a page-by-page basis, and see how it is that your page is performing against your industry average and against your niche average and against your CTR average. Are you performing above? Are you performing below? If your page is sick, it's what I call it. If it's below, it's sick. I have to fix it. I have to cure whatever is sick. And so I have a process that I work on to bring that page up to average, which will then bring up my entire average, because of course the low performing pages are now performing at average or above average. Then I'm going to go and I'm going to split test, and I'm going to do all these different things to kind of bring everything up. But if I go and touch a page that's working above average, I might hurt it. And I'm already performing at maybe 2 or 3x above industry average, which is fantastic. And how would you know that unless you have a baseline? Man? So I'm back to, please be careful and understand that not all expert opinions are accurate or definitive, that there are other opinions which could be more accurate. Not to say that my opinion is accurate by any stretch of the imagination. I've only been at this for 18 years, and I kind of know how to read Search Console. And one of the first things that I focus on is those averages, so that I can gauge it against what I already know about the niche and the market and the industry and everything else that I know about these numbers and how they apply. Rant over.
Funny, because one of the first questions we have today is about Search Console. So grab the screen. Let's jump right into it. It's almost like that was planned. Here is from Muhammad, by the way, which is cool because we haven't seen Muhammad here in quite some time. So it's awesome. He says, hey guys, good to be back on Hump Day Hangouts again. I presented a monthly update to a client last week and everything was pretty routine. Satisfaction was had by all. MGYB, shout out. Anyway, regarding Search Console reports, this client was pretty impressed by the impressions of all things. Maybe he was all easily amazed, but I kind of went along with it. However, I did think to ask, is there any situation where you would hype up impressions? I never talk about them at all. I mean, I've said this a bunch of times, Mohammed, over the years about, especially when you get a drive stack and you submit a good list of, a long list of keywords, which is part of the reason we've suggested getting the deep keyword research. So you get all your market level keywords, even stuff that you don't think is relevant to your business or to your project. Google found it relevant in some way, shape, or form. So those are the kind of keywords that you can add to like to submit with your order for a drive stack and a G site. So an SEO shield order, whatever. Because what happens is over time, once the drive stack has been built, and that's impressions is one of the key metrics that I point out in my monthly reports to my clients. Search console metrics, and impressions is one of them, because you can clearly see over the course of several weeks and even a few months out from the time that a drive stack is built, when you do it the way that we teach, or you get it from MGYB, you see the impressions start to skyrocket. Month over month, they increase, and rather quickly too. And so that's one of the actual key metrics that I point out, especially when working with a new client, because within that first 3-4 months of working with them, I can show, and I can go back and show, in a longer time frame on the Search Console and show them like, hey, this is when you hired me. And 4 months later, their impressions have gone like, what do they call that? An exponential increase, like that kind of curved line. And it's really, really cool to do that. So impressions are pretty, I think it's something that you should be pointing out, because it's showing that Google is finding their brand, their asset, right, or their website, and giving it impressions for so many more search queries, right? So it's being recognized for more and more relevancy for those search queries that Google has found it for and given an impression for. So that's my take on it. Marco, what's yours?
As far as impressions, it's a really good metric initially to show the client how the project is starting to perform versus where it started. So that's a really good measurement, but then everything else comes into play. What kind of clicks are you getting on those impressions? That's really important. So in and of itself, yeah, you'll wow them initially until they figure out, well, wait a minute, that doesn't mean anything. It's clicks actually that are meaningful, because that means people are coming to the page. But wait a minute, then they figure it out. What if the people aren't doing anything when they come on the page because it's not reflecting in sales? So CTR is those impressions divided, the clicks divided by impressions gives you your average click-through rate. So it's actually your conversions on those total clicks that will tell you the money that you're making. It's setting up the analytics properly so that you're tracking goals, phone calls, if it's sales, if it's people on the thank you page, if you're selling something, if you have an e-com store. There's a bunch of goals that you can set where you can really wow the client. So this means an analytic report. It also means that you can have in Search Console query reports, you can have page reports, you can have it by country, you can have it by the device, by search period. And I think that's it. There might be another one, but it's not coming to me. But you can set all of these different things, and you can show by device. You can really wow them if you take a little bit of time to learn Search Console and to learn analytics and how to search goals, because you can actually show them the money in analytics month to month. You can show that. So this is how I'm contributing to your bottom line. This is how many people I put in the cart, and this is how many people I converted in the cart. Now, if it's sales and all of that, I'm not involved with the sales team. This is how many phone calls I put through to your sales team. If they suck, it's not my problem. I'm not paid to train the sales team. And I know the niche that you work in. It's not your job to sell that product to that person coming into wherever it is that they come to. I'm not going to give away your niche or what you work in. So that's not your problem. But you should be able to tell the client, we got this many calls. We got this many people to fill out a form. We got this many people in the GMB. We got this many people from the GMB to the website. We got this many posts. So all of these things put together, it might take a little bit longer to prepare the report. But when you have all that together, it's going to be comprehensive, and you're going to kill these people with all of this shit that they didn't know. Brian Catto mentioned something. He showed a client how he was leaving over $200,000 on the table in our Dire Wolf, our mini mastermind meeting on Tuesdays. And it's just by some simple metrics by some simple changes, very simple, that you can show a client how it is that they're leaving money on the table, and they are going to love you. You go from just a service provider to being someone who becomes indispensable. They cannot do away with you from this company because you're making it that much more successful. And then you can set your own price. And Mohammed, he's really active in the Heavy Hitter Club, asking just a ton of questions. And I appreciate this question because this was really good. Gives people a chance to learn more, which you should be doing about Search Console. You have that analytics guy that you like.
Yeah, Julian from Measure School.
Measure School, Julian. Fantastic guy on setting up your analytics to really rock them out. And once you learn that, then it's just your product becomes part of your process. And when you're setting up your reports, you can just have a VA go and collect all of the information. You don't have to do it. You just have to present the report. How good is that? You go and present graphs and all of these different things and say, this is how much money I'm making you, man. You can't get rid of me. In fact, you got to pay me more. Pay me more. And here comes the check. It's a fantastic thing. Thanks, Mohammed.
So Ralph's up. He says, is there any benefit to incorporate? Yeah, that was correct. Sorry. Is there any benefit to incorporate OneDrive into the Drive stack through embeds and links? None of the documents seem to index. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Interested to get your insight with this or anything else to help expand the Drive stack. Yeah, I started playing with that about a year and a half ago and never really followed up with it. So I kind of followed what Marco's opinion on that was, which is why need it when you've got, Google properties that can achieve what it is that you need to achieve. So I have not done anything with it. I don't think Marco has either. Have you, Marco?
Not with OneDrive. I've never needed to. And if he's talking about OneDrive don't index, then why bother?
Yeah.
And if you're talking about Drive stacks and files or documents in the Drive stack, not indexing, it's just a matter of building tiered backlinks into them and then indexing the backlinks that are getting hit with the index that are hitting your Drive stack and your G site, and Google will crawl them. And all we need is a crawl. We don't need it indexed. We need Google in there to take a look at everything, to have everything in store, and so that it knows what the path of the power flow is. That's all we need. Of course, it's really helpful when we're taking up real estate with that G site, because it just means that there's one less competitor that's not competing with you or organically. And if you can take the map pack and one of the positions in organic, that just means that you're covering much more real estate. And if you can bring one of your tier 1 properties up along, so not just your G site, but other properties along with it, which you can over time, and doing it properly with the proper power. Remember, tiered link building, you can get a lot of results, a lot of great results. I'm seeing like Drive stack files index. I was just looking at that. They index.
Yep.
They index.
I was just going to mention, I've been testing with a lot of link building to the G site, the G sheets, the keyword sheet, right? The one that comes back with the Drive stack builds, because there's 2 G sheets that come back. One's links and one's keywords, and they both have links, but one, the keyword sheet has all the keywords that you've submitted with your order hyperlinked to all the different links from the Drive stack. And so I've been targeting that one very, very specifically lately for several projects that I've been testing things on. And there's absolutely that G sheet indexes. And it's on and almost every single one of my projects, because I've been hitting it with links, that G sheet, the keyword sheet with links, like for a brand search for that, whatever project it is, it shows up on page 1 or 2, the G sheet. So it absolutely does still index. I'm sure the other ones do as well. I've just been really hammering that one lately. So it's interesting. But as far as OneDrive, no, I just haven't messed with it. I started to, but I never followed up with it. Never really completed that process. So I figured why we're able to do what we need with what we've been using. So let's see. Harpreet says, I'm having a blog which has many pages and getting lots of traffic. Is there a way to combine different CDN to provide good load time and boost Core Vital to 100 like Amazon CloudFront and Google Cloud CDN? I don't know about combining CDNs and all that. I'm not real good at all that kind of stuff. I usually use something simple like Mac CDN or something that like Cloudflare, the CDN that they have. And recently I did pick up a course though that just I picked this one up. I think it's called WP Page Speed, not plugin. I just picked this up a couple of weeks ago and started messing with it. I can't remember which one it is though. I'd have to go into my files to pull it out, but it's shit. I'm sorry. If I think about it, I'll post it in the comment section later. But it was pretty good, and it was talking about how to optimize using W3 Total Cache, which is free, and it goes through very, very granularly on how to set all that shit up. And it also combines with Cloudflare, the free stuff that you can do in Cloudflare, and there are some paid options as well for upgrading to some CDN stuff. But I was able to get really, really good results. It varies, and I'm not sure why. I've got to go back through. I still haven't completed it, but I was able to get the the page speed insights score into the mid 90s for a WordPress site that was really, really slow prior to me doing all those tweaks. And I spent probably about 2 hours going through that course, initiating those tweaks. And like I said, I will comment with the link once the webinar is over. I just got to figure out where it is. But that was pretty good. It's a $300 course. Like I said, I've still probably got about 30 or 40% of it left to go through. So I'm sure I can get close to 100 with that. But it also got really, really good GT metric scores. My pingdom scores were a little bit lower than what I was hoping for, but I got really good scores, like I said, from the page speed insights. So as far as combining CDNs and stuff, I don't know. You probably can if you're an advanced, like maybe Marco knows. I don't know enough about that stuff except for how to set it up if I have clear instructions, if that makes sense. So that's about the best I can. I'll find that a link to the course that I'm talking about, and I'll post it in the comments below. Marco, can you assist on that one?
Yeah, this is a good question. You don't need multiple CDNs. You just need to properly optimize whatever it is that you're doing. The answer to your question is yes, you can set up multiple CDNs. Yes, it can be done. You can combine, for example, CDN.net with Cloudflare so that you can increase the speed, but also increase the security. You can also set up multiple networks to take different loads off your server, but most of you will not have, like if you're video live streaming and that gets really heavy, you could benefit from multiple CDN for that purpose. So you have multiple things. One handles the streaming, the other one images, that kind of thing. Recently, when we did the iframe webinars in the Heavy Hitter Club, we just finished those and we're moving into now. Last week we covered content. I'm going to cover content for the next couple of weeks. But I showed how to take just any website and with really 2 or 3 plugins, actually 4, take care of all of your speed needs, getting something as close to 100 as possible. Now, having said that, you don't need it. And I'm going to tell you why. Google is measuring your website against other websites in the niche. So if all of the websites in the niche average 30, max is 35, the lowest is in the teens, then all you need is 36, and you're the best in that niche. And so if you're the fastest website in that niche, that's all you need. You don't need to be the fastest website on the web. You don't need to always reach that 100. Sometimes 26 is good enough because you're measured against everybody else in that niche. And then it comes part of the user experience and those measurements, whether the person stays, whether they leave, all of that comes into play. As we go deeper into Google Core Web Vitals, that might change. Right now, I don't think it will. But just here it is. It's some simple plugins, some very simple plugins, and just use them the right way. So I'm gonna give you an example. When you're uploading images, make sure that your images are size optimized before you upload them. You don't need a 1300 by 800 image if all you're doing is a 400 by 300. You don't need that. You need 400 by 300. So bring your images down. Then use something that will optimize your image size and your file to something that's really fast for today's web. And there are plugins that will do that for you.
Yeah.
Cache plugins will do that. Will also help deliver the website faster so that it's stored somewhere and you're being delivered. It's actually stored on the user side rather than on the server side, which is really good. That's why it's called, that's why they tell you sometimes clear your cache to see if that will give you a better version of the website, because it's stored on your end rather than on the server end, so that it's not slowing down the server. There are also plugins that will help you, for example, with lazy loading, with iframes. And the reason why I showed it is because someone had said that iframes do not slow down the website. And we've shown where an iframe can trap a bot for over 7 minutes. So it's 7 minutes, the website trying to load, where Google finally just breaks out of it. So, I mean, it depends on what it is that you're trying to do. You might need a course like Bradley paid for. I would say you don't need it. Just some basic plugins and you're good to go with just about any website, unless it's something that's really, really heavy and just delivers a lot of scripts. And sometimes just adding too many plugins will also hurt your speed metrics. So not having enough, not having the right ones, having too many. Google fonts, interestingly enough, a Google product will hurt your page speed.
Yes, it will.
So
yeah,
it's just different things.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because, and by the way, this was it. It's WP Speed Fix. I can't find, I'm not sure where the purchase for that course link is on here, but this is what I'm talking about. It was this one right here. So it's $297, I believe, for the course that teaches you how to do it, or you can hire them to do it. But that's the course that I went through. Anyway, what I was going to say was, as Marco was just mentioning, the WP Smush It is one of the plugins that they talk about using. They also have, like you see, W3 Total Cache in there. Google Fonts was one of the things that kept on the WordPress site that I was applying this method to, was one of the things that kept coming back and showing like one of them causing the slowest load times. So there's a plugin, Remove Google Fonts, that you can add that will just strip all that code directly from your WordPress theme. So there's a number of things. And again, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, as Marco said, I probably didn't need it. If I wanted to just go to YouTube, I could probably find enough free YouTube videos to teach me all the same shit that was in here. This was just all consolidated. So that's why I did it. But anyway, there you go.
Yeah, like I said, we have it in a really simple, I showed it in like 30 minutes in the Heavy Hitter Club in one of the webinars.
Yeah. So that was WP Speed Fix, by the way. But yeah, like you said, I mean, again, I didn't want to try to find all that shit. So I just went through it, and it's pretty good. It was, in my opinion, it was worth it. Next is Jay says, I'm building on a mass page site for a local service area business. I'm adding local images, Google Map, video, and service schema. Is there any other schema code or things I can add to squeeze more power out of these pages? Can anything be added inside the map code or even some of the images? I've also taken care of other on-page things like alt tags and using keyword file names. I don't know. I still haven't got my first mass page site built, really, other than just playing with it to kind of figure out how to work the plugin. But you can add, as far as adding additional schema, because I don't know how you've marked up your page. So it just depends. If you can mark up certain elements within the page, that's great. But I don't know how you do that with a mass page build. Like, honestly, I'm not sure how that would work, because it's, the pages are basically created dynamically, right? When you press deploy or whatever it is, at least the way that the plugins that I know how they work, that's how they work. So I'm not 100% sure about that. As far as adding like things to the map code, you can squeeze keywords at the end of an iframe tag. You can do things like that, but I don't know what else you could add into there. Marco, do you have any suggestions?
Custom schema. I don't know what you're using. If you're using a WordPress plugin, you should be able to insert schema dynamically. I use my own plugin. I coded my own plugin to take care of inserting dynamic schema and just pulling in whatever the dynamic variables on the page are. So whether it's a post or whether it's a product, what kind of product it is, if it has an author, if it has a video, just whatever it is that changes from page to page, or where it needs new information pulled in, that's how it gets inserted. So it's not really passive of the mass page build, but once the page is built, the new page, and my plugin goes in and reads that new page, it inserts the schema dynamically. So that's one of the ways. And so here's the thing. Most people are adding the same old garbage schema to their website. So they're using a plugin that everybody else is using, or they're using a schema generator off-site that generates the same schema that is going to be generated for everybody else. And we've shown time and again that it's actually custom schema that really, really makes a difference. We just got great results from the Land Solutions Network case study, where Rob went in and he redid the schema in the custom way that he uses, inserting schema on a per page basis, different schema, because every page kind of needs different schema, or you're just giving Google the same old garbage that you keep giving it. There's no reason for Google to go through it. It has to be different. And Google has to have a reason why it's going to rank you or even take a look at you in order for Google to go in there and look, rank you, or do what? Index your pages. Your mass page. The biggest problem that you're going to have is not indexing the mass pages, is keeping them indexed, meaning in the live, let's call it the live index versus something that just gets crawled and then it just falls off. That's going to be your biggest problem. One of the best ways to do it is by freshening it up, making changes, making it different. That's another thing where Rob, in the coming weeks, after I'm done with content, we're going to go through mass page builds and show people how you get tuned content into mass pages, how you can tokenize and how you can drop the entities and keep the entities, make them tokens, and then change those so that, and change paragraphs, move them around so that the page, every page that Google goes into, then becomes unique and it's tuned for whatever it is that you're trying to do. So if all that you're changing in your mass pages, like we did originally in Land Solutions, is the name of the city, the name of the county, and the name of the state, or whatever it is that you're changing, it's going to fall out of that live index and it's not going to perform as well as it should. So you need to do all of these different things. You need to test all of these different things in order to get that to perform, that mass page website to perform as well as it should.
Sweet. Okay, so next question says, hey, Semantic Master, when I look through backlink profile of many websites in my niche, I always find shitty automated coupon websites that all use the same template across multiple domains and are clearly automatic. What is the use of these websites and how do they even make money? How do they even make any money, or are they just made for links? That's a good question. There's, I've been doing a lot of link analysis for local stuff in the last couple of months, and I see a lot of weird stuff too that similar to what you're talking about. And it's interesting. There's some really strange sites that they're just automatic. They're sites that just will, publish links back to sites, I guess, on an automated fashion. So like directory, like some really, really spammy directories, actually, some of them I've seen lately that have been popping up across different projects. And so I've been actually going in and disavowing those links because they're really bad. But it's not something that I'm building. It's just either I'm getting negative SEO, which is always possible, or they're just sites that, you get caught in the net, so to speak, of these kind of like scraper sites that will go out and, they got scripts that just go out and scrape pages and, create new pages with links on them and things like that. And that's what I'm thinking it more likely is. So I don't know how to prevent that, though. I mean, honestly, maybe Marco has some ideas. I don't know how to prevent others from linking to you or publishing a link back to your site without you wanting it. As far as the coupon sites specifically, I haven't seen that in the in the tree service industry. So I don't have anything to say specifically about that. But I've seen a lot of similar type of odd linking sites that, like, for example, if I go through all the top 10 organic competitors that aren't big directory sites, I'll see similar type of sites that link to several of them with automated type links. And again, I don't think that any of those contractors are actually, hiring people to do that for them, because some of my sites get caught up in those as well. I think it's just automated, linking sites. And I'm not sure how to prevent that. And the only time I worry about it is if I feel like it's causing some sort of an issue. But if it's industry, like in other words, if all of your competitors are being linked to by these crazy sites, then I don't think it's going to harm you to be linked to them either, because it's kind of just normal for all those top 10 competitors. At least in my, link analysis, I haven't seen it cause any harm. In some cases, though, I've caught some that, like I said, are just so damn spammy that just as a preventive measure, I've sent them to the disavow tool. But that's my take on it. So how about you, Marco?
Yeah, but as you know, I've never disavowed anything.
I know.
Don't plan on disavowing anything ever. I like to kind of use the power against whoever is using it, trying to use it against me. So use it as a positive thing. As far as this question is concerned, I read it a little bit different. How I read this is he's going and doing competitor analysis, and his competitors in his niche have these crappy automated coupon websites using the same templates across multiple domains, automated and linking back to themselves. So that's a PBN, or
Could be.
with the loose definition of a PBN, where they're using these to maybe catch traffic at the tier 2, at that level, but still providing that link power into these websites. The use of those websites is simply that, to provide a link to the other coupon websites, which is, you're looking for coupons, that's what you're going to see. So yeah, the way we do it is build an SEO shield and then extend the SEO shield into coupon categories and push power into that not just the SEO shield, but the G site and drive stack. Extend it into categories, add pages to your G site. That's fresh, unique, relevant content that's updated on a regular basis. It does work. Build your categories, add depth to your categories. So don't just leave it at a page. You can add more. You can add more relevance. You can take the exact same category silo that you added on your website and add it on a G site and power it up to push relevance over to your money site, so that you don't have to hit your money site with these ugly, crappy links. You'll hit the G site and the drive stack with these ugly, crappy links. They'll be a little bit better. They'll be web 2.0. They'll be contextual. They'll be tiered if you order tiered, and they work phenomenally well when your website has been set up the way that we show they should be set up. So that's how I read this. How do they make any money? By pushing power into their website and making it rank better. That's one way. The way that we do it is another way.
Yeah, I got the screen paused for a minute because I'm gonna show you an example of some of these really spammy sites that I've seen pop up lately that are kind of these scraper type sites, and they're awful. Hold on, I'm about to resume share. Okay, so here's some that are part of the disavow file that I've built for one of my projects, because I've got sites that keep getting caught up in these awful sites, and they're all the same. But take a look at this. They're just, I mean, it's just, all it is just, it's just a WordPress theme. And then like in it, you look, it's unbelievable. Well, maybe there's none in this one, but it's crazy. But if you look at maybe I'm looking at the wrong pages, but if you take a look at all it is page or a list of links. Like it's all it is. And it goes thousands of pages. That's probably why because I'm looking at the domain. I don't have the actual link, the page link, but it's these awful sites, and there's a bunch of them, and they're all basically the same, which are just WordPress templates, all free templates. And they just go through, and it's just pages and thousands of pages of just links. There's no context around the links at all. It's just naked URLs that are hyperlinked to their destination. That's it. And it's just page after page after page, and it's just insane. I've got several sites that have been caught up, and it's a whole network of them. This is just a handful of them, and I don't know why, because they're all very, like SEMrush comes back as showing them as toxic links. So I've just been, as a precautionary measure, disavowing them, but just bunches and bunches and bunches of them. So I don't really know what the purpose of it is for. I can't imagine this being a benefit to anybody. I don't know why. Maybe it's for, I have no idea. I don't know why somebody would build dozens of sites like this, but whatever. All right, back to the questions. Next one is paraphrasing content using software and citing the source viable for content on our blogs and money sites? I wouldn't do it on money sites. I like to have original, unique content on money sites, personally. So we always do that. We always, you know, have original content that's been well tuned, all of that kind of stuff. You know, on tier 1 stuff, but it's possible that you could do that. For tier 2 stuff and beyond, have at it. I mean, that's what I do. You know, a lot of the stuff on tier 1 now, I'm treating almost as if they're all money site properties. We are going through and optimizing content on tier 1 properties, tuning the content, doing all that kind of stuff. But for tier 2 stuff, yeah, I mean, in fact, that's a lot of what I'm doing is paraphrasing existing content and using that for like link building content and things like that. I wouldn't do it specifically on the money site though. You know, tier 1 stuff, you could probably get away with it there. But anyway, what do you think, Marco?
Content kingpin is what usually comes to mind with proper attribution, rather than just redoing, citing the source. It's what we're doing in Content Kingpin, isn't it? Curate content.
Yeah.
For the
For
blogs
blogs,
and yeah.
I wouldn't want to do it for money pages.
Not for money pages, but for the blog, definitely.
For the blog, you can do that. So, and actually for blog posts, you know, we don't really paraphrase. We just grab snippets, and then we always cite the source though for curated blog posts.
Yep.
But you know, for taking with all the paraphrasing tools out there, you can, you know, they're better than spinners because they keep the idea intact and they're readable. They use, you know, NLP, a lot of them, so that it's the phrasing is in natural language patterns, as opposed to like, you know, spinners can interrupt that. You know, spun text is so easy to spot now. Although I had just started playing again with Word AI version 5, and it is definitely better than I think any of the other spinners right now. So
yeah, I agree, but I don't understand why anyone would want to use a content spinner now when you have so much other software out there.
Yeah.
That will just turn the phrase. You hire a VA, and in 1 hour they can, it becomes an endless amount of content that they can produce. And the great thing is that since you have a human editor, to have them go through it, because sometimes the AI will throw something in there that just doesn't fit for whatever reason, glitch or whatever. They're just pulling it in and there's just something in there that doesn't fit, and it's great to have that human editor looking through it and just making it read, making it flow, and making it in that voice that's helping. Because even the voice that you write in can help convert the person in the right niche. If you write to the person the wrong way, if you write to the person, so here's something that I ran into working in the medical tourism industry. We were targeting people, baby boomers. This is about 10, 15 years ago. We were targeting people who were baby boomers, but we were using images that were of young, vibrant couples, 30-year-olds, I would say, or between 30 and 40. Nothing to do with baby boomers, with the aging generation, with the generation who would pay medical tourism prices to travel abroad, stay for 30, 45 days, and get the procedures that they wanted done. And because we were not speaking to the audience in the proper voice and using the proper images, we were getting a ton of people who would not convert. And just changing the images and realizing that we're talking to an older crowd, using a better, sharper font, darker, making it stand out on the page, because we wear glasses as we age and we don't see that well. And with screens getting smaller, it actually looked better on the page. And all of these different things are all tools that will help things just stand out, speaking in the right voice to the person. So it's not just grabbing a whole bunch of content and popping it on your website. You'll get exactly the effort that you put into it. If you go the extra mile with that content, man, it's gonna convert like crazy. I have one where it's converting at now nearly 10%. Let me look. I was just looking at it before this. At nearly 10%, which is ridiculous. Where industry average, as you know, is less than 2.5. And if you get to 5, between 5 and 8, you're doing great. So all of these little things compounded, added to one another, is what will actually get you to where you want to go.
So that goes into the next question is there any type of content we can safely scrape or automate? The only thing that I would suggest that I still do this in some cases. I've been testing with it again a little bit lately, which is RSS driven stuff, especially like if you can embed an RSS feed that you can mash together, like RSS Masher Technology, which is Damon Nelson's product. He's got a really good tool for that. I have not been using that. I've been doing it strictly for SEO purposes. So I've been using Rank Feeder, which is Lisa Allen's product, which is pretty cool. I think it might have been in the Heavy Hitter Club, but I saw one of the members mention that he was testing with Rank Feeder again, and he was starting to get crazy results with a few of the tests. And I was like, well, shit, let me dust that off and test with it again. So, but that's pretty cool because you can create, feeds with relevant content sources. So for like local, I like to mix feeds between, local, like event type sites that have RSS feeds, as well as perhaps government sites, and then topical relevancy. So you go find blogs that are relevant to your niche, and you can kind of mash those feeds together along with sticky items with the Rank Feeder, which is where you can like sprinkle in static, URLs into the feed that will always be present in the feed so you can randomize where they are and that kind of stuff. And so that's the only thing that I like to do. And I've been doing that, testing that with that a little bit again on like ID pages, for example, embedding the RSS feed. And there's a couple ways to do that. You can still use Google Feed Burner and use what's called the Buzz Boost embed code, or with Lisa Allen's product now, not now, it's been like that, but Rank Feeder, you get an HTML page with the feed too. And that HTML page, it's a URL. You can just embed that, just create an iframe out of that. And it works really well. So, I mean, that's what I've been doing. It's just, anytime I've ever wanted to automate having fresh content on a page, I've just used RSS feeds. That's how I've always done it. I don't know. Do you have any other suggestions, Marco?
Other than RSS feeds, no, but I do have a word of caution, because you use the word safely. Be careful whose content you use, and be careful how it is that you give proper attribution and whether you do. And when they tell you to take it down, don't take it down and then brag about just putting it up somewhere else.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do that, especially when it's a big company that has lawyers and deep pockets and can come after you and take everything that you have
and write news
and
stories
not give a crap.
And write news stories about it.
So don't, right? So if you're going to do that and safely scrape, keep it keep it to a blurb, keep it to a paragraph, paraphrase it. Don't do a direct copy. An RSS feed, pushing that, you're pushing the limits. It should have proper attribution. You can get into trouble. You can. So just be really careful with what it is that you're doing, and periodically or have that VA looking through the content just in case you get into something, or look for those notices in case somebody tells you, take my content down, and then go take it down and rewrite it, do something different. Once you know what the niche and what it is that you're writing about and the entity that you're after, you should have no problem going in and replacing that content. Just be careful.
So Arby says, if all my stacks links ultimately point to a masked pretty link to the final destination, so I can keep control of the stack if the client stops paying, will this lose out much by, number one, not having the keyword in the underlying link, only perhaps in the mask text? No, I mean, it helps a little bit if you can, at least in my testing with link building stuff lately, if you have control over your pretty link, you can squeeze a keyword in there. But it ultimately at the destination, like I said, I like to squeeze keywords into redirect links that I'm using to kind of add some relevance, especially if I'm coming from properties where I don't have the ability to modify the anchor text. Then I like to link from those properties through a redirect URL that does give me the ability to squeeze a keyword in there. So I don't think that's a problem. If you can squeeze a keyword into the slug of the pretty link that you're talking about, the redirect, then in my opinion, do it. But if you don't have access to it, you're still going to get whatever link building you're doing to the target that has the outbound link, redirect link going to your ultimate destination, whatever you're trying to power up. You can kind of influence what the anchor texts are, right, through contextual link, right? Obviously where the link is placed and the content that surrounds it, but also in the links that are being built to that target page and the anchor text ratios of that, right? So there's a couple ways that you can do it. I wouldn't worry about it too much. What I'm saying is I know you want to use a redirect and you're asking, will you lose power if you do it? Not really. It's such a small amount that I like using redirects a lot, actually. And it's funny because we're just talking about this, but MGYB.co, the link shortener, has just amassed a shit ton of power over the years. And so I wanted one for my own agency specifically because I wanted a branded link shortener. And so I started to build one of I'm just using Pretty Links. I installed a short domain on, and set up WordPress and using Pretty Links. And I've been doing a lot of link building through my own short links. And that domain is powered up considerably, just like, and I got the idea, obviously, from MGYB.co, the shortener, the link shortener. So it works. And even if you don't, I like to use those redirect URLs a lot now, because what's great about it is you can change the target URL at any time, right? Does that make sense? So and I know that's why you were asking about it. So don't not use them because you're worried about losing a little bit of juice, or if you don't have control over the keyword slug, I wouldn't worry about it. I'd still continue to use it as long as you have access to continue editing that redirect. I don't really find a whole lot of benefit in redirects if you can't, modify them at a later date, right? Edit the target URL and that kind of stuff. Number 2, trying to build juice to a masked link on the link tool instead of the ultimate target. No, again, it's going to pass through. There's a small amount of loss across of it. As long as it's a 301 redirect, it's only a tiny, tiny bit of loss, but it's negligible, at least in my experience. Marky, do you have any different opinion on that?
You know me, I love link shorteners, man.
Yeah.
It's just ever since the GOO.gl shortener came out, ever since that was given to us, man, it was like, holy crap. And I didn't do enough to look into the why until after it was gone, until I started going into Firebase, and then I figured it out. And when I figured it out, I wanted to hit myself in the head with a hammer because I should have figured it out sooner. But it didn't drop until oh man, this is what was happening. This is why it was so powerful. This is why Google was counting it as an impression. We saw that. I did that test where I broke Twitter, and just those thousands of links going through Google, and we were seeing the impressions, and I'm like, why was it counting it as impressions? Didn't know, didn't care. We knew there was power. Well, now I know. Now I really care, and MGYB is built on those foundational principles that I found out going through the GOO.gl shortener and Firebase and building out MGYB.co /s, right? For the shortener, which is you drop power in there, you power up initially, you power up those short URLs, and they just push power through the destination because it's a 301. The relevance is picked up from the page that originates the link, because all you're doing is changing, you're making it shorter, pushing it through to the destination, that 301. So it's picking up the relevance anyway. How do we know? Our MGYB shortener ranks for keywords, although most of them are not keyword based, like he's saying here, where you write the custom slug. We don't need it for the most part. On the really, really difficult niches, it could be that additional boost that gets you over the top. Could be. I don't know if that much power is available or how much you would have to do to break through. But we do know this. We do know that they index, they rank for keywords without having the keyword relevance. But how can they rank without having the keyword relevance? They're picking it up from the link origin. That's the only place that they could pick it up, from the place that you're taking the URL and you're using to shorten, in our case, MGYB. And they're also picking up from the boost that Daddy is giving it through link building, because we use contextual links, contextual web 2.0. Yeah. So all that relevance is coming through. What does this tell you? Google will read relevance through a redirected link. How good is that? It's one, I'm not giving away the really juicy shit. I'm not ready to give that away. But how good is understanding that, knowing that wherever that link is, Google understands where it's coming from and where it's going. And as long as there's relevance on both the origin and the destination, Google is picking it up and it's pushing it through and it's helping it rank. Not only helping it rank your page, but the MGYB shortener. So it's not necessary to have keyword relevance, although it will help in a really difficult niche or in something that's stuck for whatever reason. It could help to just give it that additional push. As far as, what was the other one? Trying to build juice to a max link. No. Just build links, man. Tiered link building. That's what's gonna push it up.
Yeah, like I said, the juice will pass. There's a very slight loss, but it's so negligible. It's not even worth mentioning. So, and as follow up to that was great. I always wondered whether Google looks under the hood to see the true link instead of my link target keyword. Maybe I'm not sure what that is. LTKW. Okay, guys. Well, we're about 5 minutes early, but I think we can wrap it up. We appreciate you guys being here. I will not be here next week, guys, so I'll see you in 2 weeks. But the other guys will. So see you guys then. Thanks.